That noise that you heard at the beginning of the video is what I hear 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the past 6 years. It's called tinnitus or tinnitus. What is tinnitus or tinnitus? Tinnitus or tinnitus is a ringing, buzzing, or roaring sound in your ears over here, or at least it sounds like it's from your ears. People hear different tones of tinnitus. They hear different levels, different noises. Some people hear what sounds like cicadas. Some people hear like a teapot. Some people might even hear like different different letters. Mine sounds more of like what you heard before. It's like a high pitched e. That's what it sounds like. Um, yeah, so that's what. So however you want to pronounce it, tinnitus or tinnitus, that's what it is. So here we go. I am going to do 3 disclosures here right now. Disclosure number 1. I am making this video to basically raise awareness of tinnitus or tinnitus. I'm just going to call it tinnitus from now on. So if you want to raise awareness, there's some links in my description down below. One of them's if you are a sufferer like me, you have a basically a support forum that you can go to. And if you want to help sufferers like myself and donate towards a cure, a cause, a good cause, there's also the American Tinnitus Association. You can go and donate over there as well. So those 2 links will be provided below. Number 2, I am not here to sell you any snake oil. I did a video previously about this about 3 years ago on another channel. Everyone was pretty good about it, reached out to me a lot, and then then there were some people like, oh, he's selling products, blah 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 blah. Look. I didn't sell any products. I wasn't trying to sell products. I didn't give you a link to sell a product. I did try stuff like Tinnicare and Bioflavin and all those whatever those crazy products. And then obviously you had those tinnitus cure in 24 hours guaranteed. Buy this product now. No, I'm not doing that at all. What I'm here to do is to tell you my story and how my tinnitus came about. I initially did a video to try to do that before. Maybe this is about my 4th attempt on a video. I'm trying to make this as best as I can. So I'm trying to make this short as I can too. So I just want to focus on what, when my tinnitus came about and how it came about and when it came about. And today I'm still dealing with it. And then number 3, a lot of people that get tinnitus get it because of loud noises that they hear. So whether they go to a concert, maybe they hear the ringing in the ear. Sometimes you hear for a day. I've had that happen before. But sometimes that's either from the loud noise, or from it could be from a gunshot or from a loud explosion of some sort. You'll get tinnitus, and sometimes it just damages your hearing and doesn't go away. So disclosure here, number 3, my tinnitus was not from a loud noise. So here we go. My tinnitus started probably, I would say, October 2013. It happened on a night that I had dental work done, a root canal. So I was having a root canal done. So just backtrack a little bit. I was going through a major illness. Illness eventually did go chronic in me. I get treated for that illness as a chronic illness for myself. That really, it's just basically a chronic liver condition that I have. So I really go on a clinical trial, a treatment for this. So I'm sharing this with everyone because it's my friends and family that I'm sharing this with, as well as the public, so they can actually, reach out and help me out and give me suggestions and stuff like that. But I remember a few months prior, I had some dental work done. I was going through that crazy time when my illness was making me a lot worse. It was damaging my liver really bad. And at the time, it started out with I bit down a Tootsie Roll, and not my wisdom tooth, but all 4 of my wisdom teeth are all out. But the one back here on the bottom tooth, I bit down, and I had a filling in there. I bit down on a Tootsie Roll, and then the tooth just basically just shattered and crumbled, and that was it. So I went to my dentist. He's like, oh yeah, there was a little bit of a crack in the filling that we put in many years ago, and I guess we never really caught this, and the tooth just started to decay around there, and that was it. Sorry about that. We're gonna do what we can and then put a gold crown on top of it. So he put a gold crown on top of that, and then he noticed the next tooth over. He goes, well, there seems to be a pretty deep decay according to the X-ray that I see. Why don't we come back in a few months? When you're starting to feel a little bit better, and we'll go ahead and we'll see what we can do. So I did that, and I was starting to feel crappier during that entire time. I was going through the major illness, and the illness was like I basically like lost 30 pounds in 2 weeks. It was crazy. I couldn't eat anything. I was getting real tired at like 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Wanted to go right to sleep, and that's all I wanted to do was just rest, relax, and go to sleep. I remember my friends came over, and they saw that I was basically white as a ghost, and they said, "Whoa, what is wrong with you? This isn't normal. This isn't like you." I would chase them out of my house. So you got to get out of here. I'm just way too tired. Leave. They stuck around for a couple hours after that. They're like, "We want to make sure you're okay." Cool, thank you, appreciate that. That was before my tinnitus started. Then that came about. That started going into, I started hearing all the loud noises around my area. So construction outside was amplified. Airplanes outside were amplified. If there was kids playing outside, they were amplified. If I heard my neighbors coming home or leaving in the morning, that sound was amplified. The train, which is like 3 miles away, I heard that sound amplified. So it was kind of crazy time that I was going through. So I decided, let me go stay at my dad's house, but I don't really have any answers as to what's causing this. I went to an ENT just to see if I had Meniere's disease, and there was nothing. I had brain scan, and the brain scan revealed absolutely nothing. And then, I had neck issues. I definitely had a herniated disc and stuff like that before I didn't know that until about 2015, to be honest with you. But I had neck issues, and I had even worse neck issues on a road trip that I went to, which really made me feel very woozy, off balance. So I went to like this I don't even know how to say this, conjunctive therapy for balance. And that didn't help out. They didn't have any answers. I really had no answers from neurologists or nothing. I told my neurologist about the tinnitus, and he goes, "Oh yeah," he basically, when that happened, he's like, "Oh yeah, that'll go away in whatever amount of time." But so the night that I had tinnitus was came about the time that I was going to have the root canal. Went to my dentist, and he started a drill, and then he said, I went to him first, and he saw I was in bad shape because I wasn't sleeping for a little bit, and he just sent me home. He goes, "You got to come back in a few weeks." Came back in a few weeks when I was feeling better, not 100%, but better, so good enough to get to where I needed to get to. And he was like, "Okay, good, you're here. What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Let's just get through with this. Just go ahead and drill and see what happens." And he said, "Okay, if I start drilling and I don't see this decay when I get to a certain point, I'm going to have to stop, put a temporary filling in there, and send you to an endodontist to get a root canal." So that's essentially what happened. He did that. So I went to an endodontist, and I was at a point where I think, it was getting pretty bad with my sleeping patterns, where now I wasn't sleeping for, I don't know how many days. Maybe it was like a couple days at that point, and, they basically were like, "Okay, we're gonna look at this." They did their X-ray. They didn't see anything. Went back to my my dentist and said, "They didn't see anything. What do you want to do?" And he goes, "Let me call them up, show them my X-ray, and they can take a look at the same spot." So he did that. He showed them his X-ray. They looked at the same spot, and they called me back in. They did their X-ray, and they said, "Okay, now we see it, but." Just so you know, if we get down to that point and we don't see it, we can't continue on, and we don't know, we're going to be doing a root canal for nothing, and you're just basically going to be charged. So I said, let's schedule the root canal. So they saw I was in bad shape. They saw I had a lot of anxiety for this, and how I wasn't sleeping, and everything was just wrong with me at the time. And they were like, "Okay, let's go ahead and give you, basically 2 or 3 days worth of Xanax before you come back in for the root canal." So I took that. The only problem was that, while it relaxed me, before I went in for the root canal, I had 5 days of 0 hours of sleep. Yes, 0 hours of sleep. Not even a 5-minute nap or anything. It was to the point where it was just getting really bad, but I went through with it. I said, "Screw it. I'm going to go through with this. Whatever it is what it is." So I went through with the root canal that day. They saw it, and they said, "Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to basically put in I had the gold crown on the back over here. They put in a temporary filling. They basically put in a temporary crown, until the time. I don't know if it was just a temporary crown, if it was like a paper crown or something weird, until the time that I would go back to my dentist to get an actual permanent crown on. So it was, it was at day 5, that same night of the root canal, and I was lying in bed, couldn't sleep, and I'm like, let me try listening to some, to some sound therapy for insomnia. Let me try thinking myself to sleep. Why couldn't I go to sleep? It was just crazy time. So I remember that time. It was like literally. It was. I think it must have been. Wow, I don't know what time it was. Probably maybe about 2 o'clock in the morning or so. And all I remember was just seeing like a flash of light. It was like 2 seconds, not even a flash of light, and then my jaw just clenched really quick. Like it just clenched down on itself really quick. And then I started hearing the ringing in my ears, a little buzz in my ears. And I'm like, oh no, what happened here? What's going on? This is weird. So now I'm running to the bathroom. I'm throwing water in my ears, trying to clean my ears out, thinking these are going to go away. Didn't go away. Obviously, I didn't sleep because this is new to me now, something happening. So that didn't go away. And then I told my father what happened overnight. And he's like, well, he sounds like okay. I'm like, yeah, but I'm just worried that, now I'm worried I had like a stroke or I had brain cancer or I have an aneurysm or this or that or that. He's like, well, did your MRI see any of that stuff when you had it? And I'm like, no, I never saw any of that stuff. He's like, yeah, you're fine then. You're fine. Cool. He goes, yeah, ringing in the ears will go away in like 2 days. I've had that before. He's like, were you listening to any loud noises? I know you were listening to music at night. And I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't loud music. It was like this soft, soothing music to try to get me to go to sleep. He goes, okay. He goes, well, did you hear any loud noises? Did you expose yourself to any loud noises? And I said, no, I didn't expose myself to any loud noises. This is what happened, and here's when it started to happen. And when I'm reading my comments, basically from my old video, somebody said what they might have done is in a root canal, they might have hit a nerve, damaged a nerve, and they were saying go ahead and sue the dentist. Now, I don't know, the endodontist at that point. I don't know if they did or not. I couldn't tell you, but it just seems odd that that's when it happened. But here's the even more odd part about this whole thing. So after that happened, I thought I'd be getting better. I was getting worse. My tinnitus was spiking up, tremendously spiking up. And what was even happening worse is that illness that I was going through was actually getting worse in my body too. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is pretty bad. What do I do now? I don't know what to do. So what was actually happening is like the tinnitus was spike up. I would actually hear it in my ears. Felt like something was like attacking my ear, and then it'd spike up, and then it'd go down, and then like maybe a couple hours later, it'd spike up and go down. And I remember I went back to work at that time because I took like a couple months off. I didn't necessarily take it off, but I wasn't really doing well enough to get into the office at that point in time. And I'm hearing that, and it's going down. And like every couple hours happening that, and then my ears would actually itch. Like sometimes they do itch every once in a while still, but not as bad as it used to. So they would actually itch, and I'm like, well, do I have a problem with my, something else going on here? I don't know. And then I felt like something the bottom of my right foot was like poking me in the bottom of my right foot too. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, what the hell is this? So my next thought is, well, maybe I have a neck issue. So I saw like 6 or 7 chiropractors in a matter of like 6 months. Maybe I'll do another video about that because that was a crazy time too. And there's a lot to talk about with that, about why I never go back to chiropractor. But I'm almost positive that they made me worse, to be honest with you, because now I'm just like all messed up with my neck. So moved on, and I stopped, and I said, you know what, let me focus on 2 things. Let me focus on getting a treatment for my chronic liver condition. So I made that decision that I wanted to do that, and B, focus on like a vitamin regimen. It's 3 things really. Focus on a vitamin regimen to try to make myself better as well. And C, also get this tooth checked out. So actually, I focus on a vitamin regimen first. I'll explain what I take. So this is the one that helped me the most. Vitamin D3, 10,000 IU a day. Actually, sometimes I take 20,000 IU a day. It depends on the day. When I went to my doctor, he saw that it wasn't that great, and it was like the level was like at 12, and the lowest you can ever be is 10. But he didn't really say anything about it. He's like, oh, you should only take 2,000 IU a day. You should be fine from that. And this was a gastrointestinal doctor. I went back, the new doctor I went to said, wow, you should have been in the hospital, and any couple more points lower, you would have been. I'm surprised you're even walking today. Because your level is supposed to be between 20 and 75. 20 the minimum and 75 the highest. But for you, you should be at 100 or 120, because your body is different from what you're going through right now. Vitamin K as well, so vitamin K is good to here too. By the way, if anyone's asking me any questions about why don't you just take a multivitamin, because the amount of that I have on each vitamin is a lot more than what you get in a multivitamin. So you got fish oil too, so here's your fish oil right there, right? You got B12 here too as well, so here's B12, cool. And then you got vitamin C, so here's vitamin C as well, so you take a lot of that. That helps out tremendously. Ginkgo biloba, that helps out a lot of tinnitus sufferers, so you can take that as well. Magnesium. Magnesium is also a pretty good help for a lot of people too, at least from what I discovered. Zinc's actually pretty good as well for you. That helps you out. Turmeric. I like turmeric. I don't necessarily take the pills as much now. What I normally do is I cook it in food with olive oil. So I tend to cook a lot of vegetables and chicken and stuff like that at home. I'll cook meat at home too. You know, I try to avoid going out and get fatty foods, but that's really difficult for me because they're always so good. But I don't drink any alcohol anymore, or if I do, it's like very rare now. I also cut out all sugar from like coffees and stuff like that. I don't like sugar at all. I'll take selenium too. That's another one I'll take. So it's like over $100 worth of stuff. You know, but I try to cut out the fatty foods, try to cut out the sugar, try to cut out the alcohol is really important. So like sodas are no. You know, those are triggers. Stress is a trigger as well for tinnitus. The other things that I do is, you know, green tea. I love this green tea, but this isn't the brand that I like the most. The brand that I like the most is actually what I find on my ginger tea. So my ginger tea is this brand. I love this brand. This brand is awesome. So that helps me out tremendously. I'll do ginger tea. I'll do this roasted dandelion root tea. It's really good. This mixed tea as well. You know, do maybe one of each every night before bed. And I also do green tea with lemongrass as well. So yeah, I stopped with the chiropractor. Then I went to get my teeth checked. So that's the next thing that I did. And, you know, I had the crowns back here, and they're the gold crowns, and I had them shave them down because I felt my bite was off and it was causing problems. It helped a little bit, and then he's like, okay, you know, and he said, come back in 2 weeks. So I came back in 2 weeks. He's like, I'm like, well, it helped, but it didn't do everything I wanted it to do. He's like, all right, come back again and see if that will help you. He shaved it down again, and he shaved some of the top teeth out, and that helped a little bit. But I still felt it was off, so I went to like a specialist to see what my bite was like, and he's like, yeah, your bite's off. I could shave your crowns down a little bit more, but if it gets to a point that I can't do it anymore, you're gonna need new crowns, and I'm gonna basically redo everything, all the dental work. So I stopped there, and I said, let me make a decision here first before I do anything. Maybe I want to get the crown from my new dentist anyway. It was a holistic dental person. So I went ahead and got treatment for my chronic liver condition. That treatment actually helped me out, and in a few years from, you know, since then, my tinnitus was reduced pretty well. So that was that too. But I went back and got my dental crowns done, and it didn't actually turn out to be a crown. If you look at it, you see these right here. It's actually a bridge. And I didn't agree with him doing the bridge, but he did a bridge anyway. So he basically shaved down that back tooth even more, did a bridge there, and then obviously put the bridge on there. One thing I don't like about that is you can't get in between there and do your thing, and you know, it's too tight. And I thought he should have made 2 separate crowns. But one thing that I noticed is that before he made that bridge, he put temporary crowns on both teeth instead of a temporary bridge. He put temporary crowns on there. And I felt like that the temporary crowns, my body was back to normal. The tinnitus was still there, but my body was back to normal. Anyway, but he did that anyway. I still considered doing that. I have major neck issues. As I mentioned, I'll get to that video at one point in time. But one of the things I do with my neck is this. It's a disc decompression therapy at home. I have a couple of those over there. And you're supposed to stay in the yellow or green, but I get into the red sometimes because it really helps me out. I have a couple of disc decompression pieces as well, and some stuff I do for my neck, like yoga. Yoga helps out as well, and some other stuff. Anyway, so there's my story. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. Sorry if it's a little bit rambling and on, but check out the description. There's also videos that I listen to that really help out. There's also the American Tinnitus Association link in the description for donations, as well as support forums. So keep fighting the good fight for my tinnitus sufferers, and for those who want to help us out, you know how to do so. If you ever want to talk to me, leave a comment or just ask, and I will be glad to chat. See ya. Thank you.